Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is chapter 76 of Shattered Image, and this one is titled A Sudden Change. Out into the hall you walked, flanked by your lawyer on one side and your teacher on the other, and you gave each of them a glance as you walked silently. You were looking to see the expressions on their faces. Were they worried? Were they happy? Were they scared? Neither looked any of the above, so you just had to wait and see. I guess their professional jobs don't allow for them to show their emotions, you thought, as you walked to the end of the hall to a door that was guarded by two men who looked like security guards. On the door it had the judge's name and badge, and your lawyer knocked on the door, and then you waited to be called. You heard someone call for you all to enter from the inside of the room, and she turned to the door handle and stepped in. You followed also, and then Aizawa brought up the rear. As you stepped in, you saw the judge there, as well as the shady-looking man who had kept his eye on you during the questioning period of the court proceedings, and you narrowed your eyes at him as he looked across to you. "Good afternoon," the judge greeted you three. "Please come in and have a seat. There's been a proposal made," he said, gesturing to the man. Your hackles were immediately up. You didn't care what proposal it was, you didn't like the look of this guy, so anything he had to offer was definitely going to be rejected as far as you were concerned. The judge spoke to both Aizawa and your lawyer, and then turned to the man across the table. "I would like for you to meet Mr. Mianai," the judge said, gesturing to the man. He bowed as he stood up and reached a hand across the table to Aizawa, then to your lawyer, and spoke eloquently to them. "Pleasure to meet you both," he said, then gestured to the seat behind them. "Please have a seat." They sat, so you did too, but you were still on edge. He glanced at you, but then spoke to Aizawa. "I remember you, sir, from the recon mission a few months back," he commented to Aizawa. "Good work apprehending the smugglers." "And good work to your team also," Aizawa replied to him, and the light scowl on your face deepened. So he did know him, you thought. "It's a pleasure to meet you and know your name this time around," Aizawa then added. "Oh," you thought, the scowl lessening again. Okay, so he didn't know him personally. "What can we do for you?" Aizawa then asked the man, and he smirked and then looked at you and your lawyer. "I suppose I should introduce myself formally," he said, looking at you as he said it, and then he looked at the lawyer. "As said, my name is Mr. Mianai, though that is only one of my many names," he added, pulling something from his coat pocket and then sitting it down on the table and sliding it across the table to you and your lawyer. "What is that?" you asked as your lawyer picked it up and looked at it and then passed it to you. It was a federal CIA badge. "CIA?" you asked him. He nodded. "It's real," he said with another half smirk. "Okay, and?" you asked with a shrug, passing it back to him. "You noticed me pretty quickly, Miss Yin," he then said, sitting back in his chair and crossing his arms across his chest. "Can I ask, what is it that made you stare me down like that?" You mimicked his position and also sat back and crossed your arms across your chest, glaring strongly at him. "Why?" you asked defensively. "I'm just asking," he said with a shrug, as he then uncrossed his arms and sat forwards, resting them lightly on the table in front of himself and appearing much softer. "Depending on your answer, I might be able to help you out here." You noticed that he had shifted his position pretty quickly, but you refused to move, still keeping that closed position as you continued to glare at him. "I don't need your help," you said to him. "I have a lawyer and good people around me." He looked at you, then Aizawa, then back to you, and then Aizawa looked across to you. "Yin, I highly suggest that you cooperate here," he coaxed. You trusted Aizawa above all, and so even though this went against every grain of your very being, you decided to fold and see what was going to happen if you cooperated. "You had a different look in your eye from everyone else in the courtroom," you said with a huff. "It's not hard to pick out someone who's ready for a fight." The agent huffed through his nose with amusement and then turned to the judge. "Your Honour, with Yin's consent as well as her lawyer's consent, is there a chance we could come to an agreement with the other party and conclude the court case in a shorter time frame?" he asked the judge. The judge nodded. "Yes, if the other party is willing to come to the table," he said. You were completely lost now. What had you said that had made things suddenly take a sharp left? What was going on? Shorter court case? What? "Hey," he said to Mr. Mianai. "Explain, what's going on here?" "Miss Yin, I am currently involved in a mission, and I'm in a situation where we need a student-aged person to protect someone who has a lot of information in his head. We need to get from one shipping dock to another without being assassinated, kidnapped, or other. And we need a person who is the right age and right personality type to do this mission. He said, "What's in it for me?" you asked. He looked at you and then turned to Aizawa. "Boy, she's a handful, isn't she?" He laughed to your teacher. "You have no idea." Aizawa deadpanned, which made the CIA agent laugh harder. "Yin, there's a chance this court case could still go sour and you could end up in jail. That or you walk free but have to do hours of community service and your family has to pay a lot of money." He said, "If you agree to help us, it could be that we pardon your crimes, clear your criminal record, and pay for damages sustained by the other party on your behalf, and you and your family walk free." You stared at him. "Is that even legal?" you asked incredulously. "This is the CIA we're talking about. It's a grey area. Let's just focus on the question at hand. Will you help us or not?" he asked. You blinked at him, and then looked to both Aizawa and your lawyer in turn, then back to him. This just seemed too good to be true. You looked at your trusted adults again, but they weren't saying anything. "Is it going to be a dangerous mission?" you asked. "I won't lie to you, possibly." He replied. "I'm in," you then said with a grin. "God," Aizawa groaned, dropping his face to his hand, face palming heavily. "Wait, I have one stipulation though," you said. The lawyer looked at you in surprise at your use of a big word. "What's that?" Mr. Miyagi asked. My closest friend also joined. His name is Hunter Sero, and he's also a hero in training. If you refuse to take him, I'll refuse to work with you," you said firmly. The CIA agent looked at you and then sighed. "You know what? I think you would make a very good CIA agent one day. If you ever want in, just call me," he said, reaching across the table to shake your hand. "Your friend Sero Hunter can accompany you on this mission, and if you shake on this, we can proceed with the other party and make arrangements," he said. "Done deal," you replied, reaching across the table to shake hands in return. He smirked at you and then released your hand and sat back. "Okay," he said, "let's firstly get the other party in here, just the lawyer, and we can have a discussion. Yin and Mr. Eraserhead, you are free to go now," he said as he stood up and bowed to you and your teacher. So you got up alongside Aizawa and bowed as well, and then turned and left with him. As soon as you got back out to the hall, you turned to Aizawa. "Did you know he was CIA?" you asked him. "Yes, I did," Aizawa replied. "Like I said, I didn't know him personally, but I've worked alongside the CIA for various missions. So although he looked familiar to me, that was about all. But this will be good," he said. "I do believe your training has come at a very good time. Now to see how the other party approach this." Well, I bet you didn't see that coming. A lot of you were concerned she was headed off to jail, but maybe she might just be able to skirt around that one and get out of it. Stay tuned for the next chapter, chapter 77, coming tomorrow. I'll see you then.